Hello, welcome to Food Safety Fridays. My name's Simon Timperley from the International Food Safety and Quality Network. Today, special guest is first-time presenter as well, Wasi Ashgar, and today's topic is missing links in developing a food safety culture in food companies. So, welcome, Wasi. Nice to have you along with us. How are you feeling?
Thank you so much, Simon. It's a great opportunity for me. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to me to speak on this key topic, food safety culture, how to bring food safety culture. So I would like to thank IFSQN and Simon and the team to just providing me this opportunity and just bringing the globe together to
Yeah.
discuss this issue. Yeah, thank you.
It's a very important topic, and it's great to
Yeah,
have you here. And you're joining us today from Delhi in
yeah,
India,
yeah.
and I'm in Manchester in the UK. And everybody else, you tell us where you're joining from. Wendy from Pennsylvania, Rick from Idaho, Jane from Nigeria, Pratik from Canada. You're all welcome wherever you are in the world, and that's one of the great things about this that me and Wasi were talking about, is that it brings together people on very important topics of food safety from all over the world. So you're all very welcome. We'll play the sponsor offer videos now, and then we'll be back for the presentation shortly. Okay, I'll hand you over to Wasi for the presentation. I'll be back for the Q&A later. For now, enjoy.
Thank you, Simon. Can I start?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So, I welcome all the food safety professionals and all those who are interested to build food safety culture or already contributing to building the food safety culture. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So, we are going to just discuss this important topic where I will be discussing missing links in developing food safety culture. So, we have to start with the food, and we know that we need food multiple times in a day. Food provides us nutrients that nourish our bodies and keep us healthy. Food gives us energy. However, if the food which is not safe and is consumed may result into the sickness or hospitalization or even the death. So therefore, it is a mandatory requirement that the food which is supplied to the consumers, which we eat, should be always safe. There is no doubt about it. Now the question comes: how we can ensure that the food is safe? This everyone knows we have to ensure by implementing HACCP-based food safety management system, be it BRC, GS, be it IFS, ISO 22000, FSSC 22000, SQF, or any other standard. But now the question is how we can ensure that the food safety standards have been implemented and are being maintained round the clock. That's mean during night shift it is being maintained the way it is being maintained in the morning shift. During the lunch hours it is being maintained during after the lunch hours, before the lunch hours. That's mean we have to guarantee that this food safety standard which has been implemented uh, is being maintained round the clock. And this is only possible through the food safety culture. If there is no food safety culture, then there is always a possibility that sometimes will deviate from the system and there will be a question mark on the whole food safety system. So therefore, maintaining food safety culture is important. So now, how we can develop a food safety culture? My based on my 25 years experience, I can say with confidence that a well implemented food safety system will automatically give us a food safety culture. If we develop a food safety culture through the involvement of the pupil, then definitely we will have a food safety culture. As Robbie Ketang says, that culture is how organization do things. That's mean the food safety culture when we talk about, which means that how the pupil in the organization do things, how the pupil follow the norms, how the pupil behave. So that mean everything is ultimately related to the pupil. For we have well documented procedures. We have well documented HACCP manual. We have policies. We have work instructions. We have developed standard operating procedures. We have developed pest control management system. We have developed training calendar. Everything we have done. We have made food safety policy. We have a very good layout. But ultimately, how it will be implemented means we have everything in documents, but once we start implementing these code of practices, these manuals, these policies, automatically there will be involvement of the pupil. The pupil within the company will be for sure the top management, middle management, executives, staff, frontline workers, service providers, visitors, auditors, drivers, security guards. So with these people, food safety culture through the implementation of the HACCP-based food safety system is to be developed. And now everyone knows we have means like we have heard this food safety is everyone's responsibility. Everyone knows this, but my question is like from this everyone we have to know that who are the someone who will take care that everyone is responsible. I mean, who will ensure that everyone is doing his job properly. So, for example, as in Out of Crisis, Edward Deming says, everyone doing his best is not the answer. It is first necessary that people know what to do. So we know food safety is everyone's responsibility, but the question comes that from this everyone, who are the key people who will drive the whole food safety culture? So I have run this poll on the LinkedIn, where the question is who is most responsible for bringing in food safety culture in the company. And as you can say that out of the poll I got for the top management it is 73%, HACCP team and HACCP team leader it is 23%, head of the factory 3%, and 1% is any other. So that's mean we can understand that top management or HACCP team or HACCP team leader, they have to actually drive this whole, whole whole culture. They have to ensure that people are aware. Now, based on these polls, I have done another poll on the LinkedIn where I just redesigned the question and I put like which combination is the most suitable for developing and driving food safety culture in the company. As we have discussed that culture is everyone's responsibility, it involves everyone. But the question here is actually who is going to ensure that food safety culture is being ensured. So here the question is like either the production manager and QA manager, or the top management and HACCP team, staff and frontline workers, QA manager and HR manager. There may be various combinations. But here the question is actually who is ultimately going to take responsibility that everyone is responsible. Here I got the reply that top management and HACCP team leader has to will be the most suitable combination to develop and drive a food safety culture in the company. So now, as we know that GFSI defines food safety culture as the shared values, beliefs, and norms that affect mindset and behavior toward food safety in, across, and through an organization. So it applies to everyone. I mean, it applies to the top management, it applies to the middle management, it applies everyone who are in the factory premise. So out of these people, it applies to everyone in the factory that how they are behaving with respect to the food safety. When they are taking actions which are going to affect the food safety, how they are behaving, what are their shared values, what they have, in-depth understanding that what they should do, what they should not do when there is a, ultimately something is going to uh, 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 put the adverse health effect on the food safety. So out of this team, top management and the food safety team leader and the food safety team. So these people have to, take responsibility of developing food safety culture. And of course, food safety team is definitely going to represent the middle management depending on the size of the company, depending on the shape and size, or the type of the company, or the people they have, or the organization structure they have. Based on that, they will be having a food safety team, which may be either from the someone from the frontline workers, from the supervisor, from the staff, from the executive, from the middle management. So there will be a food safety team which will be representing different departments. So it will be a multidisciplinary team, and then there will be a team leader. So food safety team and the team leader, along with the top management, has to lead, has to ensure that the food safety culture is, being developed and culture is being improved. So now, as you all are aware, that compliance requirement as per GFSI is now it is it is important that in order to ensure either the implementation of BRCGS or IFS or FSSC 22000, it is a requirement to have a food safety culture. But now, this food safety culture requirement is also a mandatory requirement as per regulation 2021-382, where there is an amendment in 852 2004, where means like there is an inclusion of the food safety culture, which talks about the commitment of the management, which talks about the leadership by the management, which talks about the engaging all employees in the food safety practices, which talks about the awareness of the food safety hazards and importance of food safety and hygiene by all the employees. So therefore, it is the responsibility of the top management. It is the responsibility of the food safety team leader. It is the responsibility of the food safety team to ensure that people, that the employees are aware of the food safety hazards. They understand the importance of food safety. They understand, and there is a clear cut communication. And then there comes an important point, that availability of sufficient resources to ensure safe and hygienic handling of food. So we can say now it is a mandatory requirement that the top management has to ensure that the sufficient resources are there to comply with the requirement of the food safety. Again, the same part means like point number two or class number two, where they are just further describing the management commitment. Further, as per ISO 22000 if we just try to understand and we are just trying to resolve the puzzle that who is and how we can bring the food safety culture. Here, if we read it carefully, in the class 5.3, organization roles, responsibilities, and authorities. Here, this standard clearly says the top management shall ensure the responsibilities and authorities, and then top management shall assign the responsibility and the authority. It is not only the responsibility, it is the authority also. So that is the key point, key term. Uh, they have to ensure that FSMS norms conforms to the requirement of the document. Document means like any standard. For example, here in this case, it is ISO 22000. In other case, it may be any other standard. So ultimately, their food safety management system has to means consistently comply to the requirement of the standard. Second, it is the responsibility of the top management to appoint food safety team and the food safety team leader. Now, what is the responsibility of food safety team leader? The food safety team leader has to ensure that FSMS is established, implemented, maintained, updated. So when we say established, it is a documentation process is completed. Implemented, that's mean it has been implemented. Maintained means like it is being maintained round the clock. It is not for 1 hour, it is not for 2 hours, it is for 24 hours or for all the hours when the factory is running, and also it is being consistently updated. Now, it is also the responsibility of food safety team leader to manage and organize the work of food safety team, and he has to ensure that the relevant training and competencies for food safety team is there, and then food safety team food safety team leader has to report to the top management. So you will see a connection between the top management and food safety team and food safety team leader. There are means like for example, top management is going to appoint food safety team and food safety team leader. Food safety team leader is finally reporting to the top management. So there is a connection when these two components, when these two factors come together, they discuss more and more food safety, the culture will automatically take place because people will start getting involved. So in the building of food safety culture, top management is there, top management commitment is there, and the food safety team and food safety team leaders role is there, and then they have to ensure means like that the critical control point are being discussed regularly. There is no bypass of the critical control point. Management review meeting and internal audits are the key tools, and many times we bypass these two key tools where internal audits will tell us the gaps in the system. Internal audits will tell us the deviation in the system. Internal audits will tell us the opportunities for improvement, and these internal audits have to be discussed in the management review meeting. It is well written in the documents, everyone knows this, but the problem is actually we have to implement it. We have to convince the top management, we have to involve the top management in the process of internal audit and the management review meeting. And then the hazard analysis, I will be discussing it in the later slides. And poor food safety culture, definitely if there is a lack of management commitment, if management is a bit hesitating to provide the resources or not taking interest in the in the development of the system, or not taking interest in the work instructions policies, so definitely means there will be always a question mark of the food safety culture. Here the role of the food safety team leader or the QA head or the relevant persons and the food safety team comes into picture. They have to convince the top management. They have to make top management aware of the whole scenario, how this global world is changing and why it is important. And if we are ignoring CCPs, we are not respecting critical control points. It's like an indication that that this step is critical, and even though you are ignoring it, that's mean you are not taking care, you are not bothering for the food safety. And then if the management review meetings or the internal audits, if we are doing these things only for the auditors, so as a food safety professionals, it is our moral responsibility. It is our it is our ultimately it is our responsibility to lead this these norms and tell the management that these meetings are not for the certification body, is these are not for the auditors, this is for your own improvement, this is for your own satisfaction, this is for your own system improvement. So those things, once I am sure, I am 100% sure that once the senior management or the top management will understand the actual requirement of these standards, and he will understand the benefits, so definitely means they will support and they will help. So now the question actually, everywhere these two terms which we were discussing, which I think many of you will be well aware that many standards talk about it, that top management should be committed and top management should read and understand the food safety standard. Many times what happened, top management have no time to read the standard or means or understand the standard. So now means like if they will not understand or they will not read, there will be always lack of commitment, because he is having lot of responsibilities, he has to run the organization also. So now just see, I have asked this question to AI also, apart from my own this poll which I have discussed. AI answers that typically it is the responsibility of the food safety team, strangely, and which may be consist of designated food safety manager, quality control personnel, and other relevant staff to ensure that the management has read and understood the food safety standard. So that's mean those who are part of the food safety team, or those who are the food safety team leader, or those who are involved in the organization, they have to understand that they have to tell the top management that, sir, kindly read the standard which we are going to implement. You may be implementing any standard. You may be implementing BRCGS or IFS or SQF or AIB or ISO 22000. You have to request, you have to tell your top management that kindly read this standard. If he understand the standard, if he reads the standard, he will understand that why all these requirements are there, why there is a requirement of hazard analysis, why there is a requirement of SOP. All these things he will understand. So as a HACCP team leader, as a food safety team leader, it is our responsibility to tell the top management, to guide the top management about the importance of the food safety, and this is how the food safety culture will start taking place. Now I'm just giving this a small discussion from one of my book, which is just published. It's a discussion between the managing director and the QAFSMS head as a candidate. So the means like how means like you will see that how this discussion is taking place and how is ultimately going to result into the food safety culture. So MD at the time of interview tells, you will be wholly responsible for ensuring quality and food safety in the organization, and you have to create a culture of food safety. So you have to ensure quality of all the raw materials coming in, all the finished goods going out, and that the products being supplied are consistently safe for consumption. So this man replies, okay, sir, I will ensure all this. This is, of course, my duty. But what? Sir, how much quality do you want? And how much food safety do you want? Slightly angry. What do you mean? Sir, I am asking you how much quality and food safety do you want? Then MD said, All I already told you very clearly, I don't want even a single complaint, and you will be responsible for the food safety and quality. So, sir, it all depends on you. Then what for I am hiring you? Sir, I agree with you, and for sure I will take full responsibility of ensuring food safety and quality. Then MD says, Why are you asking me these questions then? Then the reply is, sir, to me, sometimes food safety system is implemented in the organization to satisfy the customers or the regulators or to achieve minimum requirements unless there is a clarity in the management that there will be no compromise on the food safety and quality at any cost, and the QA department or the food safety department will work independently, having authority apart from responsibility. So this man may be having previous experience. At the time of interview itself, he is just asking these questions to let the top management start thinking, or he may be already aware, but actually these questions will how this see that how he give answer. I give you my words, you will work independently and will have full authority with respect to established implemented maintenance improvement of food safety QA norms and system. And thank you very much, sir, to let me know your vision with respect to quality and food safety. So now, this is how means like the means a thought process or the vision of the top management towards the food safety, and this is how the the food safety team leader or the quality heads who are taking responsibility of food safety have to have a clear cut discussion with the top management. uh, this actually if means like the difference when the top management is not aware, when top management is you know less aware, or he is not he doesn't understand, so how will affect. So a well aware top management will be fully supportive. He will understand the HACCP as a mandatory requirement to ensure supply of safe food, will provide all the required resources as and when required. Why? Because top management now have understood the requirement. Top management have actually he knows that why there is a requirement of this resource. And top management will always follow SOPs himself, will follow the work instruction and plant policies, will be taking a special interest in the maintenance of CCP. If he is aware that CCP is important, then definitely whenever he is visiting factory or sometimes through the mail or through the WhatsApp, he may be asking for this. So when top management is asking it, it gives a different, different output, different result. There is a lot of, changes in the thought and mindset of the individual when top management talks about something. So with this, definitely food safety culture will be evolved, and he may be interested to spare time for the management review meeting and internal audits, or he may ask for the reports. And once the top management start asking for this, definitely there will be a lot of seriousness among the employees, towards their duty towards maintaining food safety. So just briefly discussing, normally I think you all the people means like already must be working with the companies. So normally what happened is food safety team and food safety team leader, uh, what happened in most of the cases, food safety team exists only in the documents. Okay, so in the real life, means like maybe I am not sure, but you have to check in your own companies that it doesn't work as expected, as per the standard. So like the FBOs or the top management should realize that food safety team is going to play the most critical role. And once this food safety team, actually from the multidisciplinary departments with a different background, when they come together, they are trained, they understand, they discuss with their own other team members, and these team members will be discussing with other team members. And definitely there will be a lot of discussion on the ASAP, lot of discussion on the hazards, lot of discussion on the CCP, on the importance of food safety. So gradually, with the formal and informal discussion, there will be a culture of food safety which will develop. So my strong belief and my my suggestion is like this food safety team should come out from the documents. He should come into action along with the food safety team leader, and this team should understand their responsibility. He has to play the role, and each food safety team member should be highly motivated. He has to be motivated, and he has to propagate the food safety down the line. uh, and with this kind of formal and informal propagation of the codes of practices, of the policies, of that people will start monitoring each other's behavior. People will start copying each other's good behavior towards food safety. So gradually, because you are in the sea, you don't know what is exactly. You cannot, as an outsider, you cannot understand. You are the part of the culture, so you may not be in a position to exactly feel the culture. So therefore, what is more important, you have to discuss more about the food safety. You have to put food safety from document to the mindset, to the individual's mindset, and then there will be a food safety culture. So, like as we discussed, that normally this food safety team should be from the production, stores, quality, HR, maintenance, and maybe like the person from senior person from the shop floor, frontline worker, one or two may be taken, or you can just make it as per your own choice. But ultimate objective is just to involvement of the team in building this food safety culture. Here this hazard analysis, I'm sure that once actually either you already have your you have done your hazard analysis, all the CCPs, all the operational control points, you know all the critical control points. But what is important, at least sit with the team. If you have already your manual, your hazard plan, everything is there, even though you sit with the team and discuss how the how that hazards have been identified, how that risk analysis has been done, how that means CCPs has been determined, all the means like seven principles. You have to just see the decision tree. So when people will sit together practically, actually, then there will be a lot of discussion. They will give more thoughts. When they will go to the shop floor, they will go to the shop floor with that kind of mindset. They will try to see the hazards wherever based on their experience. So when HACCP team will discuss, there will be a lot of confidence in the team. They will be discussing, they will be understanding in depth the requirement. And when the people are doing this hazard analysis, they have to keep in mind that anything that can go wrong will go wrong as per Murphy's law. So if some hazard is there and you are not taking care, so definitely someday it will come as a food safety complaint. Uh, therefore I means like always suggest that HACCP team, food safety team leader, they should come out from the documents. They should start working practically, and once they start working, there will be definitely a lot of change, and definitely there will be a food safety culture. Now that special care of CCP, that definitely we know based on our hazard analysis that the steps which are CCP are the most critical steps, and if we bypass these steps, then definitely there may be someone may be hospitalized, someone may get sick, because there is always a possibility that unsafe food will be supplied. So we have to keep in mind that CCP is something, if we neglect or if we don't understand. And if we not talk about the CCP, that's mean we are just not respecting our own food safety standard. We have done a lot of hard work. We have done all the hazard analysis. We have done everything. We know our CCPs, but if we are not implemented the limits, we have not implemented operationally the procedure, everything. We have not trained our CCP operators. We have not discussed. We are not discussing this CCP every day. We are just more focusing that CCP we have to show to the auditor. It will never help. We have to respect the standard. We have to tell the top management also that why this CCP is so important, and what may happen if suppose a CCP is bypassed. So one thing also we have to keep in mind that ultimately this standard is not for the auditors. This standard is not for the certification bodies. This standard is for your own company. This standard which you have implemented is for your own good. This standard, if you implemented this standard, it is ultimately, it will give you more satisfaction. It will give you a very good food safety culture. You don't limit this to the auditors alone. So you have to ensure, for example, auditor may come only for 2 days. So if you are improving so many things, if you are just trying to make all the records in order, you are just trying to do a lot of things for the auditors, that's mean you're actually, there is no food safety culture, there is no respect to the food safety standard. The means like HACCP or the food safety standard should be the way of life, should be the way of life in the company, day in and day out. It is to be maintained. It is not an outside thing. It is within the company, that we know very well as a food safety professional. So we have to just keep in mind that this is not for someone who is going to come and check us. Let them come, let them check us, that is okay. But they will be visiting us or verifying our documents, or just for 2 days. Rest 363 days. Rest whole year we have to maintain it. Rest whole year we have to ensure that. So it is we have to implement for our own sake. And the best way of implementing is through developing a culture. Without a food safety culture, it is not possible to implement food safety standard. So as we know that communication is so important. So what happened, like we have, for example, we have standard operating procedures. uh, we can see the policies, work instructions are easily established and documented. But see, what is more important, that you have to communicate it more and more. You have to communicate these SOPs, policies, work instructions again and again and again. Here, who will be responsible? Food safety team leader, food safety team, HR department, and all the concerned department. So ultimately, someone has to drive. It is actually, finally, means like ultimately again, food safety team leader and food safety team, who through means with the communication with the department, concerned department, by involving HR department, they have to ensure that people are aware. Means like people know what to do, people know why there is a requirement, and they are following it, means in a way as they have understood the whole process. So these requirements have to be checked. It is not you have told them, you have to check them. Then you have to check them if, and then you have to tell them again and again, so that it will become their habit to follow the requirement. Means like there should be a system of monitoring. So someone has to lead, and this someone is actually the food safety team and food safety team leader. They have to ensure that they are telling, discussing these food safety norms again and again. And we when we talk about the food safety habits, it involves everyone. It involves everyone uh, in the company. For example, for the plant entry, there is a requirement that you have to follow the plant policy, you have to wash your hands, you have to change your outside uniform, you have to follow the norms as written in your policy. So it applies to the frontline workers, it applies to the top management. It is not, and if suppose someone is going for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, no, it has to be followed in a way, means like is written in your policy, and it applies to the top management, it applies to everyone. So if any of the person, I mean the senior person or anyone, if he is not following the norms, please keep in your mind that someone is watching you. Maybe some frontline worker is watching your behavior, you are watching his behavior, he is watching your behavior also. So if you do something, when you visit shop floor and you do something which is actually against the norms of the food safety, which is not as per your policy. If for example any of your activity, either you are for example wearing a hairnet, and you just remove it for a instance, I mean, just I am just giving an example. So don't forget that the behavior, which means for example you are checking frontline workers, they are checking your behavior also. So, and you have to lead. uh, Therefore it is more important that we have to follow the food safety habits, and it applies to everyone. We have to follow whatever we have written, and when we start following, others will start following, and there should be a monitoring also. There should be a, means like any of the HACCP team member, any of the food safety team member, or any other member who is aware of the process, policy, work instruction, SOP, and he notices that someone is actually bypassing, or someone is not behaving, he has to report it. He has to report it. You have to check. There should be definitely a system of monitoring. If you cannot ignore, if you are ignoring, then means there will be, he will understand that, okay, I have done this, some no one has told me anything, next time again he will do. So it is more important, be alert as far as food safety is concerned. Be alert and ensure that food safety habits are being developed and people are following it. Here like depending on the factory size, means like sometimes we have in the factory, we have a factory head who has lot of pressure of giving production in time, lot of shipment pressure is there, lot of other things. So he maybe in a situation he is not providing time, I mean sparing manpower for the training or something. So that the food safety team have to discuss with the HR and the factory head also. He has to make very clear, means like there is no bypass of the standard, and he has to be trained. He has to made aware that a product which goes out under pressure, because of means like suppose there is a bypass of any SOP or anything. So ultimately, if it affects the, it results into product recall, or there is a food safety complaint, or there is an issue, that he should understand the loss which company is going to face. There will be a loss of reputation, there will be regulatory actions against the company, there will be, means like morally it is not good, there are a lot of things. So that factory head has to understand, because many times the way factory head works in the company, he also affects the food safety culture. So he is a part of building the culture. Now, as we already discussed, that the management review meeting and internal audits are the key things. And here again, role of the food safety team leader and again and again, I am telling why I am telling, because it is ultimately the responsibility of these food safety team and food safety team leader to ensure that top management is taking lot of interest in the internal audit, is taking lot of interest in the management review meeting. And then comes employees training. So if you tell someone something again and again, and you do and you practice the same thing, uh, with the passage of time, you will see that people are working, people are just behaving in the way you want. For example, if any new frontline worker is coming, there should be a system of induction. He should, like, before joining, before going to the the shop floor, he should be well aware of the whole, policies, all the procedures, work instructions, what he has to do, what he has not to do, all those things. And then there should be a test of this person as the group of the pupil, as a part of their induction training, about how much they have understood what they have to do. And then these new recruitees have to be, their behavior has to be monitored. Someone has to ensure, either the security guard is to be involved, or I don't know. It means like he has to be, their behavior is to be monitored. There should be a proper training calendar. And then the individual departments, there should be a means, thought process in such a way that training of 1 hour or 2 hour is most important, and people have to spare the person for, getting trained on this. Because a trained team, a well aware team, a team who understand food safety, they will work differently than the team who is not trained. So finally, two things. All the people, like, it is a 20 persons company, it is a 20,000 persons company, it is 10,000, whatever. Two things they have to keep in mind: that there is a food safety standard, and we are controlling the hazards. And they should know that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So that's mean, if there is a deviation of the prerequisite program, there is a deviation in the good manufacturing practices, there is a deviation in the good hygienic practices, people should realize that if something is being, having a deviation, then definitely it may result into a major gap, it may result into a major deviation, it may result into a major complaint. And then food safety is non-negotiable. So these two things people have to keep in their mind: top management, food safety team leader, food safety team, they have to come together to ensure everything is going smoothly. And there should be a system of monitoring again and again and again, training again and again and again, and they have to meet again and again, and they have to discuss lot of, food safety norms. And then everyone is to be involved in the organization as per their role. And you will see a change in the culture. You will see that there will be a food safety culture. And ensuring food safety is a habit, a culture, constant collective efforts which never end. There is no end. So we have to, consistently work on this. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, Simon.
Okay, thanks very much, Wasi. Let me get these slides off. If you could switch your webcam back on, we'll do the questions. That was really good. Thanks very much. Excellent. We do have some questions. First one, yes, it is being recorded, and we'll send an email afterwards with the slides, the recording, etc. if you want to watch it again. And yes, it will also be published on YouTube. Okay, questions. So, question from Adana. How do we properly document food safety culture in order to show compliance, especially during audits?
See, every standard, like for example, GFSI recognized standards, they have clearly mentioned that how it is to be, documented. For example, FSSC 22,000, BRCGS, IFS. So you have to read the standard. They have clearly mentioned there are guidelines also available. So you have to read it properly. You have to see the guidance, and accordingly you have to develop your, food safety culture plan. Thank you.
Okay. Question from Kipoche. I hope I've got that right. In most cases, you find that QAM understands more of the food safety culture. However, the rest of the management do not understand the importance and are reluctant. How can the quality manager convince the rest of the management to ensure that food safety and quality culture is implemented?
Okay, I think we have discussed these key points during our during the presentation. So see, I agree with you that the person, I mean the food safety team leader or the QA head, they are well aware. So they, once they start, taking a decision to implement a standard, this person has to tell first of all top management that why you are going for it. It is not for the auditor. It is not for, it is not to be used as a marketing tool. It is ultimately for your own benefit. It is ultimately will ensure that the food which we are supplying to the market is safe. So those understanding, and there's that, as we discussed, he has to give very politely the copy of this standard, the standard itself, to the top management, requesting them, sir, please read it once, or highlight the key points to the top management, and then he has to tell very clearly, either through the mail or orally or whatever way, that sir, I need help of these people. Let them get a training on food safety, and we have to keep in mind that food safety is non-negotiable. And if you want complaints, then it is your choice. If you don't want complaints, if you don't want, so ultimately our responsibility is to tell clearly that there is a requirement and it is to be followed. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Kadisha, what kind of activities can be done to help employees understand food safety culture?
To me, actually, it is not the understanding food safety culture. It is more to understanding food safety. So people means, if they are understanding the food safety, if they are understanding the SOPs or work instructions, or the policies which you have developed, or the hazards which you know that there is a possibility that these hazards are possible, that implies, means like, as per their role, have to be made aware, and what is their role in that. So there will be definitely change in the culture, and he means like, culture is a part of the implementation of food safety. So more focus is to be given on the means awareness of the food safety system standard, and automatically culture will come. Thank
Yeah,
you.
clear. Question from Francis. What measures or values can be used within a food safety culture plan and to monitor, I guess, performance?
uh, Again, I will go to the standards, because it all depends. It is now, because that food safety culture is now being discussed everywhere. Lot of discussion, lot of changes are happening in the food safety standards also. And now, as there means I discussed that there is a it is become the mandatory requirement as per EU regulation also. So uh, it all depends on the company where you are working, the standard which you are implementing. You have to read and understand. You have to exactly see that. You have to read it not only one time, you have to read it again and again. And then you have to exactly see the atmosphere in your company, and then you have to align both accordingly. You
Okay.
have to go. Thank you.
Okay. Uh, Question from Kipochi. What kind of activity? Oh no, we've done that one. Let me just see. From Sam Bath, can I consider as food safety team leader has the responsibility to face internal audit with the top management? Does that make sense, that question, or is it?
Uh, See, there are two things which we are discussing: top management, food safety team leader, and food safety team. So, like, ultimately, the decision. There is a decision maker in the company whose decision is going to affect the culture of the company. So definitely, top management will be different from the food safety team leader in most of the cases, and actually these are two different phases. FSTL definitely may uh, lead internal audit everything, but ultimately he has to report the whole situation, I mean the deviation or the status, to the top management, because uh, any deviation, any non-conformity which we get in our internal audit, if we are not taking care, same non-conformity become a bigger issue during the main audit. And same, if suppose we are repeatedly we are not taking care, so definitely there will be a complaint from outside market. So something which you can control during your internal audit, you have to involve top management. They should know what is happening. Thank you.
Okay. From Esther, what's the best method to implement a food safety culture, good food safety culture within seasonal workers?
Uh, See, this is as we discussed about the induction of the workers. So seasonal workers, you have to before they go to the shop floor or before they go to the start means working, you have to check their background, you have to see their understanding level, you have to see that whether previously they have experience, because they are seasonal workers, maybe previously they have already worked somewhere, and they know the requirement. So you have to check everything. Each and every frontline worker has to be screened. There is no, either they are 10,000 or 5,000, you have to devise a system, you have to devise something to ensure that these people are aware. You have to ensure that their behavior will not affect the food safety. It is to be ensured.
Okay.
Thank you.
Aaron, do we need to keep a specific document named food safety culture?
As we discussed, there are now it is a means like requirement as per different standards. For example, all the GFSI recognized standards have a requirement for it. So definitely there is a, you have to maintain the document to show to the auditor or to someone that you are maintaining food safety culture. But ultimately it is a day in and day out activity, and it is more than documents. You have to create an atmosphere where people understand that what they need to do and what they don't need to do, and it is actually their way of life. Thank you.
Yeah. Question from Zafar. What is the proper way for recall when some food safety related hazard is reported in certain food products? Who will ensure that the issue is properly taken up? I mean, it's a bit off topic, but
So I think you have to just see the means practices or the procedures of your own country, and you have to means like how standard is talking about it, because it actually ultimately there is a involvement of the regulatory requirement, there is a involvement of standards, so you have to read that. But what I, as a food safety professional, my own view on this is actually, whenever there is a, apart from recall, whenever there is a complaint, you have to see the whole HACCP, that whether that hazard you have identified, number one, whether this hazard you are controlling. If you are not controlling, why you are not controlling? If you are controlling it, why there is a deviation? So all those things you have to check once a complaint comes, because complaint is definitely an indication that there is a bypass in the system, or the system has not been implemented properly, or the system has not been documented properly. Thank you.
yeah, I mean, a recurring question is how do you convince senior management? How do you convince top management? You know, uh, that seems to be the struggle. I mean, somebody else has put we should create a quick poll to see how many of us here think that upper management will really understand what food safety culture is and how to support it and how to bring it about. I mean, I can set that poll up and I can ask the question while we're answering, and I can put fully supported, somewhat supported, or not supported, and we'll see how it comes out. But that's a recurring theme because it's got to come from the top down and involve everybody. So on that question, Greg, it's common knowledge that top management must be committed, but how do you communicate the need for proper funding?
Okay, I have to answer.
Yeah.
So, see, you have to tell the management now because, see, for example, it may be a voluntary requirement initially that these standards we have to implement, but now gradually it is a regulatory requirement also. For example, issue regulation which I was discussing, there is a clear-cut, article which reads that top management has to provide sufficient resources. So definitely, when you are running a business, you cannot compromise on the food safety in the name of the means like proper funding is not there. So if there is a requirement, it is the responsibility of the top management to me that they have to ensure that proper procedure, proper technology, proper system is there, and for this, if whatever funding is required, they have to do it. There is no compromise on that. So that actually top management has to understand very clearly. Thank you.
Okay, so I've put a poll in the sidebar. Does your top management understand what good food safety culture is and support to achieve it? Yes, fully, somewhat, absolutely not. And let's see how that comes out while we answer some more questions. So, question from Guilia. Is there a checklist weekly, monthly to help remind all about food safety culture maintenance?
See, I have not come across any of such checklists, but definitely it will always help. To make a checklist, you can see that if some standard is already talking about it, or you can just make its own based on the your own feedback that how you are you know. What situation you are facing or what kind of implementation or awareness is there. So checklist will definitely help. For example, there is a requirement in some system for the GMP audit, for the PRP audit every month. It may be a sort of checklist which is an indication, because each audit internal means like internal or external is an indication of your own understanding of the implementation of the standard, and how much serious the whole team is about it. So it is always good to have a checklist. Thank you.
Question from, I've lost that one. Question from Mohammed. Is employee empowerment and acknowledgement of employees' work or recognition important for food safety culture development?
I think to me this is the most important aspect for sure, because the employee empowerment and acknowledgement of employee work, actually involvement of the team members and recognition of their contribution and appreciation. And if I will suggest, if sometimes any of the senior management goes to the shop floor, talk to the people, you arrange something, and some for example, you are doing some sort of what do you call GMP week or food safety week, or some kind of those kind of celebration, and you are giving the top like the contributor, or you are doing small presents like the what improvement we can do, and then people are just contributing, and you are giving first, second, third prize, or you are declaring. Definitely, there will be a means it will be a lot of value addition to the food safety culture, and it will help, because ultimately it is the people who are going to affect the food safety culture, and more people down the line will be involved, and they will understand through the motivation, through empowerment, more food safety culture will be there. Thank you.
Okay, question from Charles. We're nearly getting through there now, Wesley. How do you audit food safety culture?
Question to me. I
Yeah.
have not I have not audited I have not audited any food safety culture. Uh, but definitely, I mean, as a food safety professional, uh, if you ask me, as I told you, I have never done it. But if you ask me, I whatever immediately comes to my mind, I can tell you. So, as many auditors do it, for example, you have to go for the quick round, and when you are going for the quick round, you will have a feeling somewhere, some movement of the workers. You just start like 5 minutes, you be there, you will observe the workers behavior. You will notice if something, they are not habitual. If the food safety culture is not there, so for sure in that your 1 hour round you will see lot of deviations, because people will forget after initial 5-10 minutes, and they will start behaving naturally. So when they start behaving naturally, you will see deviation in their behavior, if there is a, if they are not aware. So the one is the round, your quick round to the shop floor. Second is when you talk to the, for example, you are talking to the CCP operators, and you go in depth. Okay, why there is, what you are doing, what is the CCP, why there is a, so definitely his awareness, his understanding on the CCP will give you an idea that how much training he has got. So these kind, when you discuss with the top management, if top management is available or not available, it is an indication that top management is not interested. If top management is, he has read and understand, those kind of questions you can ask him. So there will be definitely, you have a feeling that, you know whether the culture is there or not. You will definitely, with the quick round, with the documents checked and everything, you will have a feeling that, whether these people are actually following the norms or not.
Okay. Uh, question from Mangesh. How frequently should one carry out training programs to maintain a good food safety culture?
uh, See, to the uh, workers, to the staff, I think it should be, maybe once in a month for sure. For the workers, it may be like weekly, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just, general discussion on the GMP or something. uh, it all depends on the company. So, but more and more you will do training like fortnightly or monthly. That's mean you are giving importance to the food safety. People will respect. Even your 20 minutes discussion will have a long term, effect. Maybe like during your discussion there is a change in the mindset of someone, and he will start training others. So I always say that it should be at least monthly training. And if you discuss this daily, is a good 5-10 minutes before start of shift. If you do it weekly, it is always good. But normally people forget things, so you have to monitor, you have to see, you have to train, you have to understand, you have to revise your training requirement. You have to, based on your internal audit, based on your own monitoring, or you have seen deviation in the behavior, those aspects you have to highlight, you have to discuss again. So accordingly you have to see, it is dynamic thing, but you have to, I think, conduct it monthly.
Okay. A question from Alan. Any other staff incentives you bring suggestions food safety culture apart from employee of the month recognition, financial bonus, as we only have a few employees in production? Any incentives, ideas, or
It all depends on the company. uh, uh, it may Hello. Yeah,
hello?
it may help, but actually I cannot say much about it, because it is, sometimes incentive may go in a different direction. So it all depends. You have to understand the pupil. You have to understand how you can motivate them. So it is ultimately the motivation, ultimately their awareness. The way which you want to do it, you do it, and you
Yeah,
see that what is the result. So it is actually something which you have to decide. Thank you.
yeah. It's as you said, it has to become a way of life, the culture. So people leading by example. So it's the way everybody behaves, and it becomes ingrained and isn't something that you have to make a payment for, following rules and things. And it has to come from the top. They have to drive it and support it right through the organization. And on that, we did do a poll, and there are 1,700 people registered. And how many have we got online? 347. So it's a good poll, statistically sound. So does your top management understand what good food safety culture is and support to achieve it? Yes, fully, 29%, which is excellent. Somewhat, well, everybody needs improvement, but you're getting there. 59%, absolutely not. Well, that's a concern that 11% of all companies are really not, top management isn't supporting food safety culture. So any comments on that, Wasi? Is that what you would expect to see in the poll?
I'm not able to see. Can you just?
Oh, yeah. Do you know the icons down the side? There should be one that says polls. If you click
Okay,
that.
sorry. 1 minute.
Yeah, you should be able to see that. You see it? So you've got where it says chat in the vertical bar on the right hand side. There should be one that says polls.
Okay. Does your top management understand what good safety culture is? Is it good to achieve it? Yes, fully contribute somewhat. Absolutely not. 10%. Okay. So, okay. So it is an indication that there is a lot of improvement is required. So as a food safety professional, because we understand it, so it is our responsibility to tell the top management, to convince the top management, to make them aware whenever he's in a during the meeting, or sometimes the means the way you have to choose. Either you have to send a mail, or just making them aware, or as a part of your own feedback on the quality, or if there is any quality complaint or anything. Ultimately, there is definitely a gap, and if top management is not committed, or top management has not read and understand the requirement, so food safety culture will always be a challenge. It is the responsibility of we food safety professional to make them aware, to tell them that it is written in the system, that the top management has to read and understand. I am not saying this. It is the requirement. It is the requirement of the standard. It is not my. It is not my requirement. Thank you.
Marlene said hamburgers and hot dogs month. Well, that's fine. Everybody loves a hamburger or a hot dog, so why not reward people with that if you could do that. Anyway, I think on that note, we're 15 minutes over, so really appreciate your time today, Wasi. Great presentation, lots of food for thought, and answered lots of questions as well. So have you enjoyed it?
Thank you, Simon. It is.
Go
Hello.
on.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is actually. I will say that you are doing a great service to the society by bringing all the food safety professionals and all those who are interested to ensure food safety. They are coming together from all over the world, and we are discussing food safety. This is definitely a great contribution to the society. We are actually means we as a team have to make the people aware, make the top management aware, make the frontline workers aware of this, and ultimately we can say that we can eat any food without any this thing, once we have confidence that this is coming from the company where there is a commitment, there is a food safety culture. So it's like always good to be here, Simon. Thank you very much. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot.
Appreciate your time, Wasi, and this has been your first webinar with IFSQM, but it definitely won't be your
Yes.
last. So Have a nice weekend, Wasi,
Yeah.
and everybody else, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so